Welcome to Texas!
He's a 10.
I choose this family.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 163 of 9-1 Lone Star Roundup. I'm one of your hosts, Katie, and with me are my lovely co-hosts, Grace and EJ.
Hi there.
Hello.
Today, we will be talking about Season 9, Episode 9 of 911, which is titled Fighting Back. As always, we have so much to talk about, so let's get to it. Can I just say that was a mouthful, saying Season 9, Episode 9 of 911. I had to kind of like think about it.
How many more nines? It's gonna throw us off too when we have to say 911, episode 911.
Because you're gonna want to be like episode 911 of 9 what?
Yeah, EJ, that one's gonna be on you. I'm pretty sure. Because I have 910 next week.
Okay, so then I'll be I'll practice now.
Although 9/11 isn't gonna cut. Wait, no, I don't. Oh, well, yes.
We'll still have it. It's just gonna be a few weeks.
Anyways, so let's get to it. So Pen was telling the kids about her condition, and Karen and Tony were there, which we haven't seen Tony in so freaking long, so it felt great to see her.
Yeah, it was good to see her back.
Tony.
I know. And so Hannah's like telling them the name of her condition, and Mara's like asking if it's as scary as it sounds, and Hen says how it's an autoimmune disease and it causes a rash on her hand and it attacks muscles, and says she'll get tired more easily. And Karen says like they're very upfront about it, and they want to be upfront with them, and says how this can get serious. And I love Tony chiming in and being like, but we're not gonna let it. And Karen says no, we're not. And Denny says, so is there a cure? And Hen says there's not, but there's treatments, and she's already started taking medication. And Karen is like, that is the easy part, and for the rest they're gonna need some help. And all the kids being like all ready to like help out with whatever they need. It's very sweet. And Hen says, well, first there's diet, which leads kind of into like this segment of each kind of thing of how to help, which I thought was very, like, I just loved how they did this.
It was so cute.
Like everyone taking part and pitching in for Hen's recovery. So of course the diet has to have Buck, and I'm like, of course he's the one to be doing all the food things, which I love.
Guys, I was howling during half of these moments.
Oh, for sure, yes. I was just like, I love him going off about like no artificial colors, no high fructose corn syrup, no gluten, and I love Hen being like no fun. That kind of brought me back to Lone Star with the wedding cake.
Oh my goodness.
Owen wanted the like gluten-free wedding cake, and they're all like, oh, yeah.
How would you like your nice pocket of air? I say, having grown up with also all of these dietary restrictions, not necessary. My mom just like the no gluten, the no high fructose corn syrup, the no. Yeah.
Right.
So how would you like a nice pocket of air with a little salt?
Literally, yeah. It's funny because I've tried. Just working in like a grocery store bakery, I've tried quite a few non-gluten things, and for the most part they're pretty good. But there are some things, like the worst things I've tried are probably like one time my dad accidentally bought me wraps and he didn't realize they were gluten-free, and I'm pretty sure I threw them out because I could not eat them. Like, I didn't realize it was gluten-free until I tried it, and I swear to God, I felt like I was biting into plastic.
Yeah.
But, like, the other stuff I've tried has been pretty good.
They make such good stuff now, but there is truly some bad stuff out there. And also, like, when I was growing up, they were only starting to really put out gluten-free products. Which, fortunately, my mom is a professional chef, so she could cook, and she did a lot of experimentation and stuff, but, like, some of those years were rough.
Yeah, for sure. Then I love Buck being like, saying, avocados are fun, leafy greens are fun, we got cashew butter, sun butter, and your omega-3s are going to be off the chart, which I actually...
He's so excited about it.
I do like the peanut alternative stuff. Like, I think I tried like a sun butter and jelly sandwich over the summer because like we did like a demo of that at work, and I was like, this is pretty good. Like I don't eat peanut butter, so like I was like, I would for sure have this if I wanted to. But yeah,
I don't tend to eat most nut butters because they're really sticky. and they like lodge in my teeth and against the back of my throat, and they just activate my gag reflex. And
Oh,
unfortunately, yeah, that's not a happening thing.
right.
But I've never really
No,
tried.
it's not.
I've tried all almond butter before. I feel like I've tried sunflower butter or something along those lines. I don't know. I'd maybe try a couple of others, but it's not really my thing.
Yeah, it depends how like you're having it too.
Absolutely,
But
yeah.
and
I
then I
felt like
love
he was totally channeling Oliver in that. Some
I
amazing
He
was
things
was.
he's
thinking
Oh my
I was
gosh,
thinking
he
that
actually.
minus of when we got to the fish.
Yeah. Yeah, the fish was a little. I was like,
Yeah. When we get there,
But yeah, I love Hen asking Buck, like, can't you just make me a pumpkin loaf? And yeah,
girl, you didn't know to appreciate it until you didn't have it.
I know. Then Hen's like talking about exercise is key with muscle tone. You use it or lose it, which is true,
True.
especially as you get older too. And I love Eddie giving Hen, well, we think it's a private yoga lesson, but then I love Christopher being there, but like no,
yes.
it's
It
samba.
was
I was
there.
like, we get to see Ryan doing some dancing.
Like so like it was great. Then Hen's mentioning like patients having a hard time swallowing or getting vocal problems, which is when Maddie comes in with her vocal lessons because of course she had to incorporate that last season when she had lost her voice,
All right.
which
Guys,
was
I
so fun.
I was trained classically as a vocalist when I was a young teen. I
Hmm.
did these trills. I did a
Yeah.
lot of these exercises. And okay, I find them fun because I'm weird like that. But it is hard to get into when you don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like,
I had to do similar ones because I played the clarinet and the saxophone in my band when I was in school.
yeah.
So yeah, you kind of have to
Yeah.
do that to get your tongue moving, and yeah.
And then Hen says how dexterity is huge. Flare-ups can make her hands weak. So she basically has to try to stay nimble. And I love Chim with the whole thumb war thing. That was
That
so
was cute.
That
funny. That
was
was
so funny.
cute.
But it's good to see them, being the buds they are.
Right.
It's good to
Right.
see that. I hated the stripe of the last couple of episodes.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then Hen says how they're gonna throw the kitchen sink at this thing. There's no such bad thing as a bad idea. And Rafi pulling out this lymphatic drainage board, and I love Hen calling it out and be like, "You got this idea from TikTok?" And Ravi's like saying, "Oh, it does wonders." And one thing I find funny about this is I've literally seen these advertised a
Yep.
lot,
Yeah.
and so like I think that this is so funny with it being here and
I
stuff.
literally was watching a like gadgets test video the other day on YouTube. I think it was yesterday where this was being tried out, and then I saw it in this. And I was like, yeah, I do sadly know what this is actually.
Yeah, and I love
I
all
say
those
sadly because I am not on TikTok.
I love all these like little scenes and then Hen asking Buck what loaf it is and he says mostly sardines and I'm like, ew. Like I don't dislike fish, but I would definitely not want to eat that.
I was
I not in
it
not in a loaf.
it kind of reminded me of something my dad used to make, just as kind of it was weird. And I was like, that kind of looks like it. And I don't even want to think about what it was.
My face says everything right now if only everyone else could see it.
Oh man,
Your
yeah,
mind
no,
does as
I
well.
was not appealing for sure.
I have never had a sardine. I don't want to have sardines. I'm not
That's what I
really a fish
mean.
person.
Okay, so sardines are not as
But even
bad.
then,
Anchovies are worse.
oh
Yeah,
god,
well,
I'm never touching those,
I'm
honestly.
like like I don't dislike fish, but I'm very much like I like shrimp and I like stuff like that. I'm not like a huge like
Yeah.
fish
Like
person.
seafood, like crab and shrimp and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I'm good with unless it's scallops, in which case I have a very bad reaction to it.
Right.
Whichever
That's
salad
fair.
dressing has anchovies, I also do not react well to that. Is it ranch or is it Caesar? I always
I
get
think
both.
it's Caesar.
Yeah, it's Caesar.
I don't
'Cause
eat either of them because I don't like them. But one of them actually makes me feel sick. So I've always been like, I actually feel like maybe I can't have anchovies either. No. But if I was to have sardines, this is not the form in which I would eat them.
yeah,
Gosh,
it's
no.
disgusting. Like absolutely not. I love Eddie like teaching Hen and then like the super hen scene where they're laying on the
Love
yoga
that.
mats. That was
Like
so
getting getting
cute.
Chris
Throwback to
involved.
Stuck.
Yes.
Throwback to Stuck when Eddie was working out and Chris was doing his superhero exercise. And he was like, keep going, my
Yes.
little Superman.
I love that.
Remains one of my favorite episodes of the show.
And then I love Mara saying to like Hen, like, you got this, mama. And Karen says, we got this, and like the family hug.
Cute.
And when they said it takes a village, this is exactly what they meant.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking this whole time. And like the end of this, because we get so much hope from everyone helping her, like the end of this
Mhm.
kind of gets sad because Hen's like sitting in the room and it's like a darker, and Tony comes like home and sees Hen just laying in the dark, and it's just like,
Didn't
makes
it
me
say
feel.
like 2 months later? Or was that
I
something?
Yeah,
don't
it did.
It was like because it was so like all like they're all going home at the beginning, and then 2 months later, and she's
It's just like continuing the fight, and like she's also like she's in a wheelchair, so you can tell like her condition has deteriorated. And I know it is really hard to
right.
watch. Before we leave
Yeah.
the scene, I did want to pay tribute and then throw it against the wall. The Jello mold that Buck made, the Jello rain of doom that was
See,
presented right
I feel
after the
like some
sardines.
of the things in that scene kind of gross me out, so I kind of tuned some of it out because I'm like, I think about this,
Jello.
nothing good's gonna
It was
come of it.
I was like, Buck, why are you doing a Midwestern grandma recipe right now? Like,
Ugh,
I watch B.
salad
Dylan
and sauce.
Holland.
no. All right.
I watch B. Dylan Holland. Why
It
are
was
you watching B. Dylan
I was
Holland?
like, oh my god, it's my parents. Like I grew up with that crap. And I'm like, shoot, I could do without it forever.
Literally.
Sorry, I was like, that was the one thing that had me going, actually, you know what? I feel like I might taste the sardine bread rather than that. Anyway, sorry, I just had to mention that because that was a particular second of that show. But yeah.
Moving on. So we have a call at a drive-through, and it's like, I'm just like, okay, where are we gonna go with this? So we have a long line, and then this woman eventually gets out of the car. People are honking, like the whole thing. And it's like a younger girl in front of her, and she's like, oh, that's why you haven't ordered, because you're texting. She's like, actually, nobody's taken my order. So she's just like sitting there waiting. And but then this woman gets obviously is like, what the heck's going on? And she goes up to the actual like window where you can see in. And there's like people like she sees one person on the ground like seizing, and so that's not good. So the 118 gets there and they're trying to figure out what this is because there's multiple people down, and at first you just see a few, and then like Eddie's looking at like into like the kitchen or on like the cameras or whatever, and you can see more people. So there's like 12 exactly. Like Jim is telling Buck to like check oxygen, carbon monoxide, smoke, everything, even like spilled cleaning products. And Addie is like pulling up like the she's like, actually, we had a call from this location earlier. So she pulls it up, and like basically the person calling was seeing somebody have a seizure, and then like the call dropped when they dropped. And Jim says, oh, so one person witnessed the seizure. And I said, oh, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And Eddie's like, oh, no. And as Jim says, how it's a psychogenic, non-epileptic seizure.
This was
So,
so weird.
yeah.
I have multiple issues with this.
So do I.
I will leave my commentary till the end when we go through all this, but I just want to say I have issues.
So yeah, they're like pseudo seizures brought on by basically seeing somebody else have a seizure. So someone really is having a seizure and the rest are just reacting. And so they have to find the real person, which they do. There's this guy and stuff. And yeah, this is interesting. I have heard of things like this. And even at the very end, I will say, after all this, Buck is like to Chim, well, you don't see that every day. And Chim's like, no, you don't. And Buck asks Chim, because Chim's kind of very quiet, like, are you okay? And Chim's like, Hen would have loved this. And Buck's like, after Chim had already walked away, is like, yeah. And yeah, I have heard of this thing happening, and like, yeah, I feel like it goes with the claim, yeah, this doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, okay. I think part of the thing is that I cannot say specifically a lot about this condition because honestly, most of what I know about it, I just learned through a bunch of Google. I definitely think it's one of those odd ones because, as near as I can tell, it's more of something caused by like very specific factors in people. And so, just the idea of every random person in this McDonald's or Cluck and Plucks or whatever they called it, um, the McDonald's, but not. Everyone just going down with this. It's like, okay, that's a little out there, but I can't tell. I don't know enough to say whether that is actually impossible enough to happen or whatever. But I don't know. It was just weird. I didn't hate it. I don't have a very rational reason to dislike it. I just don't love it. Also, Maddie pulled up a call that came through earlier, and you're telling me they didn't already sound out units for an identified call where the caller said where they were, who they were, and part of what the problem was before the call dropped. And even then, they send out calls for butt dials to 911 because they can access your GPS. So you're telling me they didn't already send a. It is such a nitpicky detail. I acknowledge that. But that was
Yeah.
part of what bothered me about this scene was like, I understand it's for dramatic effect, but that's all. I know. It's just
Yeah.
weird. I
Like
didn't
I
love it.
know, yeah, it's a very tricky thing. I don't know. I didn't really connect that till now, but like yeah, it's just like yeah, why wasn't this checked out earlier? Unless there was some type of negligence. Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't really dive
Yeah.
into that.
And
Yeah.
it was definitely a very far-fetched idea. Like I've understood like the psychosomatic, like you know, you start having a panic attack and then somebody else starts having a panic attack because you're having one, you know, it's like I get it, but I can't imagine the entire building of what, 12 to 20 people.
Yeah, there were 12.
Yeah.
There was just
And I
12.
There,
was like,
yeah. They're
that's a
like,
little much.
Yeah, I mean, see, I'm not even looking at like the actual details of it. I think they just wanted to like do something like kind of
they
out
want to do
there.
something dramatic out there, not really heard of, that kind of thing. They do this. Like, this
But
is hardly.
for a specific reason, they want to do something that's out there because there are definitely those calls where Han and Chim would definitely
Mhm.
have that like, oh, we know exactly what this, they're thinking the same thing at the same time, where there's not really
Hmm.
that nobody else has that. And they kind of
Yeah.
like the different, like crazy out there calls. So they were like, obviously they were trying to think of Hen doing this.
And like I get where they were like I get the overall theme of this scene. And I do appreciate because like that's true. They do figure out a lot of wacky stuff. And this is hardly the first thing 911 has gone ripped from WebMD and like co-opted, you know? This is hardly the first thing. But
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
thought.
yeah. It's not too out there, but it also is like not the everyday thing,
Yeah.
obviously.
You know what? I feel like maybe part of what my problem with this is, I feel like a lot of the accents that we have that's not related to main storyline lately are really far-fetched and out there. And maybe I just want a good car crash. Maybe I just want a good fire. Like maybe I just want something general. I don't know if that makes sense, but maybe that's, I feel like a lot of the non-relevant to the storyline calls we've been getting have been super out there. I am thinking of the tug of war one, actually. That's one of the ones I'm
Oh
thinking
yeah,
of.
that was
Yeah, yeah, I think
definitely.
they are just trying to kind of keep it more original, which, I do appreciate, but I sort of would like to, like, this doesn't really bother me, but like, I would sort of like to go back to the roots.
It's the same thing that I've been saying for ages about the also like the big emergencies as well. It's like, hey, we went to space, but also we could have just had an earthquake or a wildfire or something. It's the same thing I've been saying. I figure that's probably pretty, that's taste specific. That's me. But I was thinking just now, I was like, actually, that might be another part of what my issue was.
Right,
So
right.
very personal to me. I don't think this was a bad scene. I just found it odd.
No.
So then we go into the academy and a three-phase drill. So on week 12, and they're doing a three-phase drill. And everything goes well until Harry slips on the ladder because he's moving too fast and falls. But he's lucky because he didn't fall to the ground. He fell like basically on like a ledge or a platform or whatever you want to call it. and stuff. He was very lucky because if he were to
Mhm.
fall to the ground, he would have been dead.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Dead or permanently disabled. One of the two, but probably dead.
Yeah, because that was like that's a far drop you're
That's
going. That's no. Yeah, and so then Athena and May show up at the hospital in the next scene, and Athena is like asking a nurse like where Harry's room is, and May gasps and asks, "Why is he here?" And I'm just thinking when I'm watching this scene, like for the first time, like who? And it's a chief, and
Yeah.
like
I'm like, oh,
Bobby.
okay, that tracks.
Right.
I don't know where my brain was going, but I was just like, what? And then, so yeah, the chief is there, and like, this kind of startles Athena, of course, understandably. And then, like, he quickly says, "Oh, Harry is okay. Like, he just has a mild concussion, and like, I'll just have to be off for the next few days. And if he feels better, he can come back." And like that kind of stuff. And it's like
Mhm.
Harry's like, "Oh, I'm ready. I can go back right now." And it's like,
Just give yourself
Sit down.
5 minutes, kid.
calm down, no. And she's like, don't worry, you lose your spot or anything. Like, nothing's gonna happen with that. And yeah. And it's just like I love him being like, I can walk, and Athena's like, no. Like, absolutely not. Like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't any more serious, but
Hmm.
I mean, and it obviously where they're going, it makes sense, but it just, I was like, no. And he was just trying to be the best, and just accidents happen.
Literally, accidents happen and
Yeah.
mistakes happen.
Yeah,
Like, he moved a little too fast.
yeah,
This is what training is about.
that's
Yeah.
true.
I will say, I'm just going to give Athena some props. She held it together better than I thought she would. Like in the
Mm-hmm.
hospital, like she honestly kept a lot of her composure after having a scare like that. Like you could see she was rattled, you could see she was upset, but like she held it together. And I'm like, okay,
Yep.
could be worse.
And I love the scene after because we get Athena is like all protective as she should be. And so like Harry's on his phone and she's like, nope, no screen. She heard the doctor. And then like as she walks off and stuff, and Harry tells May she is treating me like a child, and May says, you are her child. Typical response between
I mean,
siblings.
yeah.
And Harry wonders like why is she is so chipper about everything and thinks she's happy he's injured. And he's like, no, she was terrified. Like you didn't see her going into the hospital. Like she couldn't keep it together, understandably. And May says like 10 inches to the left, and like she could have been planning another funeral, which
Yeah.
is that's a hard thing to be thinking about. And definitely puts a lot of things into perspective as well.
It is very interesting though. Like I'm really glad we have Harry back, like as like regularly in the show and actually taking like a really strong role. It is good to have him back in this way, but it's also very interesting to really explore how like both similar and different he and his mom are, because they're definitely a lot of butting heads, and in a lot of understandable ways.
Then we go to the 118, and I love Jim saying to Buck, do not make me write you up for reheating fish in the microwave. And Buck's like, I know, it's bad workplace etiquette. Damn right it is. Basically, if you're the person that reheats fish in the microwave at work, you are the most hated person. Every time somebody does that at my work, it smells in there for like weeks. I'm just like,
Oh,
no,
and
no.
burned popcorn in the microwave is bad
Mm.
too.
Yeah, it's funny because in like our own personal microwave that we have, like not the break room one, the one we used for like just things we have to heat up. It was funny because one time my coworker put a roll in there, and I said, only put that thing in there for like 3 seconds because otherwise it's going to smell. She opens it and it smells. I go, close the damn door. And yeah, somebody burnt chocolate in there also another time, and it smelled in there for like weeks. We could not air that smell out. So, yeah, smells are not good. And then I love Ravi being like saying it would be even better when you leave it at home. And I'm just like, yes, Ravi, tell him. And Buck says it is good for your brain and heart health. He has tons of it left over because wouldn't see him the other day.
Hmm.
And
Mm.
Eddie says, I would blame it on the sardine loaf, but she wouldn't see me either. And Jim says, when he tried to visit, she was either sleeping or in the shower. And Robbie says, "Usually I get doctor's appointments." So like they're all like not being able to see Hen for whatever reason. And Eddie says maybe she just needs time to heal. And Buck's like, isolation doesn't help the healing process. She needs people to support her. And Chim's like, maybe they are the reminder that she cannot like can't be here, doing what she loves to do. It might be hard for her to see them right now. And Buck asks, "So what do we do?" And Eddie says how they keep showing up, which is very sweet. Yeah, it's definitely it's a hard thing to be reminded of like this, and it's hard when like you get worse before you get better too. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, sometimes you get better before you get worse." And it's like, nope, sometimes you get really worse before you can get really better.
Sometimes, and also like the hard thing is for chronic conditions. Sometimes you don't get really better.
For sure.
Like sometimes it just gets worse and then it's less worse and then on and off. Like
Mhm.
it is difficult. And I think that's a lot of what Hen is going through is that she was, all ready to go fight, but this is not, again, it's not a curable thing. It's a management thing. And I think it becomes very, and I'm speaking from someone who does not have chronic illness, but knows people that do. And I'm saying,
Right.
so what I'm saying is basically that it's different, I think, what I've heard the first time that you realize there isn't a like end in sight.
Yeah, it's tough. I do have a chronic illness, but it's not a severe one like some people have. And we talk about it being an invisible illness. And to Hen right now, it's kind of an invisible illness until she started being in the wheelchair and the walker and all that stuff. And, I talk about this in a lot of chronic illness groups I've been a part of, but we all grieve. The grieving process is not just when a family member passes away or a friend passes away. You go through that because you're learning to have to like rebuild your life and find out what your new normal is. And it's tough when you lose those things you could do before. And I'm glad they're bringing it up in the show because I think that's something we don't see a lot of in network series, characters getting chronic illnesses that may be life changing. And if they do, a lot of times they just leave the show, and it's because they're writing the character out or things like that. So like I'm really glad they're bringing it up, but I'm curious where they're going with this.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Yeah. But Athena does show up at Hen's and Karen answers, of course, and lets her in. And so was asking Athena how Harry is, and Athena says how he's desperate for her to get out of the house. Athena asks like how Hen is because she hasn't been returning her calls. So like Karen says how she has good days and bad days. And Athena's like, "Oh, well, what's today?" And Karen goes tell Hen that Athena's here to visit, and Hen is like fake sleeping, like pretending to
Mhm.
sleep. And then she opens her eyes when Karen leaves the room. But, Karen goes back out and says, "Oh, she's sorry. Athena came all this way for nothing." And Karen says how like all this has just taken a lot out of Hen. And Karen says when they got the diagnosis, she had all this hope and she thought they were going to fight it, but nothing's worked and she's getting worse. And Karen feels like every day she is slipping farther away from them. And Karen kind of wonders like what to do. And Athena says that she needs to give her another face to hate. And so that's just what she has to do. Which, yeah, it's hard like being the caregiver for somebody you love,
Mhm.
especially in this dynamic, them being wives, because she can't be the one to push her because that's just not gonna end very well for either of them. So
Yeah.
it is very interesting where it goes from here.
I really feel bad for Karen actually, because you can tell
Yeah,
she's
for sure.
struggling, and she's probably still dealing with some of the feelings around, Hen having kept this secret originally, and I don't know, I just feel really bad because you can just tell how worn out she is, and truly, caregiver burnout is such a thing, and I don't know if she's quite
Mm-hmm.
hitting burnout, but if she isn't, she's getting there. Like it's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. Karen basically hires a physical therapist for Hen, and Hen is kind of blindsided by this. So, like, he's like arriving at the house and, like, oh, being like, "Oh, can I put this here?" And Hen kind of comes into the room and is like, "Hello," and asks, like, Karen, like, "Who's this?" And he introduces himself saying he's Adam, her physical therapist and chief motivational officer. And Hen is like, oh, Karen must have forgot to tell me you were coming. Like she is totally, you could tell her the facial expressions in this scene were so good. Like applause to Aisha because I swear to God, I could rewatch this with like no volume or just to look at Hen's facial expressions because they were giving in this scene.
They
And it
were.
was so funny. Yeah, I had no idea. She must have forgotten. Karen's like, yeah, must have slipped my mind. And like it was so funny. And Karen's like, well, I'm gonna go run errands now and stuff. And
Yeah.
so, as it starts, I suppose.
I I'm glad they did this because like you guys were saying, caregiver burnout is tough, and oftentimes when I was a caregiver, oftentimes I was there just so the family could leave and go out and do something. So I'm glad they're bringing this up and not just like sugarcoating it in a way like
Hmm.
some they could easily do. They're really like talking about the severity of this, and sometimes you have to, it's I don't know, it's like tough love in a way.
And sometimes it's got to be tough love.
Yeah, it's the only way to
Yeah.
get through to somebody.
And so yeah, Hen we kind of see like the process of Hen working with Adam and like things to be seem to be going well and she's getting stronger. She's doing well with it and she's doing it seems to be working and stuff. So we kind of get like a little bit of that. But before we get into more of that, Harry is like already it's been 2 days to go back to training. And so it's like Tina's already up for the morning and he's like in his clothes and like, he grabs a drink out of the fridge and Athena's like, oh, you're going back to training? And Harry's like, yeah, it's been 2 days. I feel pretty good. Like, and Athena's like, nobody would blame you if you like took another day. Like, you can take another day. And Harry's like, no, I'm not doing that. And basically, like, so he goes back and when he goes to like do the drill, he gets very dizzy. He starts feeling dizzy and then he's seeing like these flashbacks in his head. And I'm just like, oh, yep, Bert, yep. Um, and then like he's sent home and it's like, it's okay, like come back tomorrow kind of thing. We go back to Hen. Hen walks into the room and Tony's like in the kitchen, like it seemed like she was unpacking like possibly a few groceries or something. And she's like, I think Karen has enough food to feed us for a week. And Hen's like, oh, you clearly don't remember what it's like to have a teenager in the house. It's literally eat everything. And it's like, and Hannah is trying to like open a jar of pickles and she can't. And so Tony's like, well, let me open this. And Hen's like, says how she should be able to open a jar. And Tony's like, you did. You just loosened it for me. Which I know Hen doesn't appreciate, but it's just like
Mm.
she's trying to be like trying to
Mm-hmm.
give her the benefit of the doubt and not make her feel like so shitty that she can't do something. But I
Yeah.
understand either way. And Tony's just like trying to say that like working with Adam is definitely helping even if you won't admit it. And yeah, I know it's hard. Like being independent, like it's hard sometimes to be like ask
Yeah.
for help or for anybody.
All right.
And we all know Hen is like fiercely independent, so
Right.
definitely rough.
This next scene I love because Harry shows up at Buck's store. And what I love about it is that so Harry asks if he can hide out at Buck's, and Buck says, if it's from your mom, then no. And Harry says, I'm hiding out for my shame. Yep, Buck is very much scared of Athena, as he should be.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
love that they feature this so
Yeah.
much. Is that like because I feel like it's been touched on in previous seasons, like a little bit every now and again since season one, the whole thing started off with their acquaintance. But they're really highlighting it lately, and I just love it. I feel like this is a bit of fandom plucked and made
Yeah.
true, and honestly, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, for sure. And so Buck is asking about what happened, and Harry said how he froze up. And Buck says that that is like the whole point of training, like panic there instead of panicking in the field. And Harry asks, how do you not panic? And Buck says, you don't? Like Harry's like asking, like says that's underwhelming advice. And Buck says, like, sorry, he didn't know Harry was coming over, so you get lukewarm advice or lukewarm pep talks when I'm underprepared, which that is so valid.
Oh
So
Yeah,
valid. I feel like I feel like Buck is also very new to having to be the one to give pep talk.
he
And
is.
so it's kind of like
Bless him.
learning as you go. Like
Mhm.
because obviously for seasons it was like Bobby was the one that Buck always went to for advice and stuff, and now Buck's having to be the one to give advice to Harry. Um,
Mhm.
so valid. And Buck tells Harry that it's normal to be scared. What makes it brave is that you show up anyway. And Harry asks if it's selfish, and Buck is asking like how so? And Harry doesn't want to be the reason that his mom has to plan another funeral. And Buck says he can't, like, you can't think like that. And Harry says that's all he can think about and asks, what does he do if that's all that's on his mind? Yeah,
Mm.
that's very difficult.
I'm glad he did go to Buck and he didn't go home and stew in it,
Yeah.
because he easily could have and just not gotten through it, you know.
Right. It's better to like talk about something when you're feeling that way. I've definitely had many moments like that. And Hen answers her door, which is very big because she's able to like turn the knob to open the door. And then
Mhm.
like it's Adam, of course, coming over. And Hen tells Adam that, and like, because he's like, oh, wow, you opened the door. Like, that's progress. And she's like, thanking him because she's like, I'm like finally seeing progress. And he kind of reminds her that like not all progress is in a straight line, which she knows. And
Yeah.
Mm.
you know, you can tell that Adam is so off when he walks into the house. Like he is like short of breath. He's kind of like sort of like panting a little bit. And like he's
Yeah.
like saying, "Oh, I don't feel like." She's talking about what they're gonna do this session, and she's like talking about like basically getting out of the chair, like doing
Mhm.
like standing or whatever. And he's like, yeah, that's not a good idea. Like, I wouldn't do that today or something. And like, so then he collapses. Like, because he's like, oh, I don't feel good, and collapses. So
Mhm.
then Hen actually has to get out of her chair to at least attempt to help him. And she tries to do CPR, which she can't do. And so
Yeah.
she, of course, calls 911. And Henley's like telling the dispatcher she can't do CPR. And the dispatcher is like, that's fine, I'll walk you through it. And Hen's like, I know how to do CPR. I can't physically do CPR because I'm disabled. That was the
Yeah.
first time we heard her say that, which I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think she had some rushed acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
probably.
which yeah, I did like hearing that and stuff, but it was just like takes you back a little bit. And then
Mm.
so paramedics get there and it turns out that he has Brugada's syndrome. And the medic's like, well, looks like he'll be getting a defibrillator today, like the internal.
The ICD or whatever they're calling.
Yeah. And so Buck shows up to see Athena. And then it's just like, oh, yep. Oh boy. And she asks what he is doing here, and he tells her that Harry came to see him after his first day back, and like he didn't make it through the whole day. And Athena's like, I knew he wasn't ready. But Buck says he doesn't think there is anything like physically wrong with him. And Buck then
Mhm.
starts talking about, the voice in your head that tells you you suck. And then he says, oh, I'm sure you don't have that. Athena is very quick to be like, Buck, everybody has that voice in
Yeah.
their head. And Athena asks if Buck thinks Harry has gotten in his own head, and Buck says, basically tells Athena that like you got in his head. Like, no, not that you did it on purpose or anything like that.
Right.
Like the
Mhm.
accident scared him based on Athena's response, but not for himself, but for her. And Buck's like, I just don't want to see him like give up and regret it later, which
Mhm.
yeah, for sure. Then we have Hen talking to her mom, and Hen says how like Adam's office called and said he's going to be okay. And Tony says, like, that's great news. And Hen is telling her mom that she has been a paramedic for 15 years and she couldn't provide that man with basic life support. Her body wouldn't let her. And Hen is thinking if the paramedics didn't get here in time, and Tony tells her that like, but they did, and Hen just wanted to get well enough so she could go back to work, and get her life back. And Hen wonders if that part of her life is over, and Tony tells her that she has always been the most impatient child. And Hen says her mom like just doesn't understand. And then Tony says she wants to read Hen something. And Hen is like, oh, please, I'm not in the mood for some woo nonsense or one of those self-help books, which I thought was so funny. Like, I totally get that. And so Tony reads something where she's kind of like hiding what she's reading at first, for obvious reasons, of course, that we know. So she's reading something, and come to find out it's from one of Hen's diaries, which at first Hen was like a one segment that Tony read. Hen was like, preach, preach. And then like there was another part that she read, and Hen's like, is that my diary?
Yeah.
Like from literally when she was a teenager. Yeah. And then it's like Hen's like, where did you even find these? And Tony's like, all those boxes I've been keeping in your garage for the past 10 years. I just recently started going through them while you've been napping, because you've been doing that a lot recently. And like, so Hen even starts to read from the diary too. Which is such a good moment with Hen and her mom.
I'm like, is
And
that something we knew? She had
the,
gotten
That she got
shot when
shot?
she was a
Yes.
yep,
teenager?
We
Hen
knew from
begins.
season two, well, that, but also Taylor's interview.
Yes, that too.
Taylor's interview when she talked when she was 16, she got shot in the back.
I totally blanked on that. I was like, oh,
Because
this is
because we
new.
also never talk about it. This is
Right.
the first time it's actually really getting talked about, I
Yeah,
feel
I
like.
need like a Hen begins from that time, because I think that would be such like a cool
Hmm.
thing to like go back to. I
Yeah.
would love that, because yeah, they really haven't talked about it. It's basically been brushed on, but we never really got many details. All we know is that basically she got shot. Like obviously the bullet wasn't meant for her, but like we don't know like more details besides that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
It's interesting to see it. Um like I this is actually why I like this episode so much, is that we finally are talking about it. Now,
Yeah,
will we
for
ever talk
sure.
about it again? I don't know.
I hope
But
so,
we're
but who honestly knows? Yeah, these are the kind of things that I miss. I miss like Hen's mom and like her conversations with her. It just led to so much, and even there's things later that I'm just like, I love this. The next scene, Athena is trying to get Harry like back out there, so she drags him out of bed, stuff, so that whatever, and they drive basically to like the academy, but they're sitting in the car. And she's like telling him, like, remember when you were a kid and you when I would go to work and you would always want me to quit. But like I didn't, I always packed those feelings like aside. And like she's talking about how like family fills us up. It like drives us, but fear can make you hesitate, which gets you killed. And like we put on the uniform for others, like to help them. um, and if we do that well enough without fear or self-doubt, then maybe they'll make it home too. And Harry didn't realize how hard this would be. And like he starts talking about, well, but like this part of the job got Bobby killed. And Athena is quick to say that like that was his path. Like now you have to make your own. And Athena even told Harry to let her worry about what she worries about. He needs to learn to set his family aside. I love that Athena was able to do this. Like she needed to do that for him. And it was good to see this side of it.
I was really glad. Like, I really did like this scene, and I did like the conversation, about, we don't put on the uniform expecting to come. Like, we go out knowing that it's possible that we will not come home. and we don't
Right.
go out with the motivation to save ourselves. But we like they teach us as much as they want. They teach us as much as we want that we are still our first priority because if we need to be saved, we're not helping someone else.
Right.
Right.
But that's still that's still different.
Yeah.
So I think there was something else earlier, and I don't remember what the line was, but Harry said something. Just reminded me that he is still really young and like kind of approaching this kind of idealistically. It was something about like not having fear or not something about fear or danger or something, and it was kind of like a take of no, that's not quite right. Like you got to go in acknowledging that you're in danger. I don't
Right.
remember what the line was, but it struck me wrong when we watched it. But I don't know. I just liked all this, and I did like Athena really like having that heart to heart with him.
Oh yeah, for sure. So then we go back and Hannah's reading from her diary and like for me this was so healing to hear the things she was writing at that time. And I think
Mhm.
reading your own like journal or diary from when you're younger is always healing growing up. Like I only have like some of mine from like when I was in high school. I wish I had the ones I had when I was much younger to see what I wrote. But it's such a healing thing. And there are so many things that I love that she had like written. Like she's reading from it and then there's like a part where pages are ripped out and then, of course, like a note falls out from it, and so she starts reading it. And it's like a letter to herself. And I love like a certain part of this where she's like, a terrible thing happened to you, Henrietta Wilson. And that could have been the end of your story, but it wasn't. It was the start of a new one. The world tried to knock you down and tried to keep you there, but you refused to stay put, even on the days you really wanted to. Which I love that because very recently she was talking about like what if this is the end of my story? Like I don't want that to happen. And to see this been
Mm-hmm.
her saying this like earlier in her life that really just connects. And through this we're seeing Harry like do a drill again and like I love like the scene with the recruits too, like after all this. The end part of the speech is basically like of from her journal. So yes, you'll always be the girl who was shot, but you'll always be the girl who lived and can do anything she sets her mind to, which I feel like she needed to read this, and I feel like anybody's reading anything from the past, they need to read stuff like this for sure.
Yeah.
Um, it was such a powerful scene, and honestly, this is like probably one of my favorite parts of the episode.
No, it
Yeah.
really did make the episode for me.
Acceptance.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
We get to our final scene, which is the graduation, which I know like the 91 ABC page posted like a picture of like a sneak peek for tonight. It's like all the helmets. So like I kind of was like, okay, well that's coming. And so yeah, they had the graduation and so like they're everyone from the 118 showing up and Jim's like telling him, "Oh, keep moving. We need two more seats." And Eddie kind of looks at him like, what? Why? And then we hear the elevator chime, and then out, like, you see the elevator, and out walks Hen and Karen. And I just, I loved the comment of, like, I think it was Eddie being like, you really had to upstage the kids. And Karen was like, we would have upstaged them if we showed up in the middle of the ceremony. Which is true. Very valid.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
True.
um,
And we see Hen there with her walker and everything, and like it's good to see her up and around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like she's like, I just wanted you all to know that I am getting better,
Mm.
which I love
That's good.
that. And I love the like graduation scene. It was such a great scene. And then of course we have the after with May like telling Harry like get off your phone like
Right.
and he's like, "Well, I'm checking the station assignments. They said they post them after graduation." And Harry is wondering about his. And Chim's like, "Actually, we got a sneak preview of the list." They give him his helmet and like
I love how
Buck,
they passed it around.
yeah, like Buck, yeah, Buck was the one gave it to him. And then like the helmet saying 118, and I'm just like, shocker.
Shocker.
Like I think we all called this pretty early on,
Mm. Yeah.
talking about this. And then Harry's like, "Oh, are you serious?" And Hen's like, "You really think we put in all that work to help raise you, and you didn't think we were gonna let you go to some other firehouse?" And Jim says, "Yeah, you're stuck with us now, kid," which
I
I
love
thought
it.
was super cute. And it's just like, "Yeah, welcome to the 118, Broby." And like they all hug, which I loved how they were like, it was a 118 hug, but they were like, "Come on, May, get in here too."
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he's now the probie. So like, what are they gonna call Robbie? Because like we've so long he was called
Yes.
probie. Like
He's
somebody was
Um,
been the
like,
probie.
this is like gonna feel so real that they have a probie now because like yes, I get Buck was like a probie and Eddie was, but like they didn't really feel like it. Like I didn't really feel like it at the time and stuff, like just for different
Like
reasons. Like Buck was like
we haven't.
stupid in general. Like I mean that like I love him now. I've come to love him so much, but like he was making so many bad decisions just in life at the time. So like and like I feel like it just wasn't emphasized as much. And like Ravi wasn't really under like Ravi was like on like a different shift. So
Mhm.
like he was kind of just there like on and off and now he's like just part of like their shift and stuff. So now I
Yeah.
think it's going to really feel like they have a probie. Really didn't experience this in 9-1, even though we technically have had probies on the show. They kind of more explored it in Star with Mateo. I'm excited for it. It's I know it's gonna be complicated and I know Chim's probably gonna struggle with that.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
It is.
I think it's going to be very interesting just to see the dynamics as well.
Mhm.
Because now, like, we were down one person with Hen being gone, and now we have another person, but we've not really got someone moving into the paramedic role to be with Eddie.
Right.
So, whether Hen comes back to her position or not, and we're not sure what's happening with that at the moment,
Right.
we're both over and understaffed. I just think having three like linemen is going to be interesting because we like Robbie's still there as well.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be interesting. I am like as you were saying, I am looking forward to see like us actually having a probie
Yeah.
because we like Buck definitely was probie. We followed his probie journey, but he was also the main focus for a lot of it, and it wasn't fully on him really being a probie as much as just him growing up. If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
that's exactly what I was trying to get at. Is
Yeah.
Hmm.
like I feel like they just showed all like the things he was doing and stuff,
Hmm.
like all the bad choices he was making and kind of Bobby calling it out and
Hmm.
him
But
getting
like
in
as a
trouble.
firefighter, he was still a pretty damn competent firefighter, like
Right.
Right.
for the most part. And then Eddie, he came in and was immediately the favorite child. Like he
In a
didn't
way,
really
yeah.
have to work for it at
Yeah.
all, which was a little bit of what Buck had a problem with, but I get it. And then Ravi, well, we had Proby Ravi, but he was largely a Proby on another shift.
Right,
So like we saw
exactly.
glimpses, but
Yeah.
he came back to us like matured,
Right.
fully marinated, so to speak. So yeah, this is gonna be interesting. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how the dynamics shift, what it's gonna be like actually having Harry as a Perby. I wonder if time jumps will line up by the end of the season to have him fully instated as a firefighter. Like if we're gonna get like his
Mm,
badge ceremony, like we did with Eddie.
possibly, yeah. That'd be
Yeah.
cool. And I hope
Yeah,
he gets
I'm
Bobby's badge
curious.
number. That would be cool.
Mm, that would be. I don't know. I don't know if those can be transferred.
Yeah, I don't think so. Because from the
I don't know
shows
one
I
way or another.
have, well, yeah, honestly, I don't know if I'd want that because I feel like, would you really want your stepfather's badge? I don't know. Would you want anybody that, who's died's badge? I feel like I wouldn't. Like,
Well,
it
I mean,
could go either way.
I feel
Like,
like
it would
that kind of
seem you're
not
honoring him, but I don't know. It's a lot.
in
Yeah.
in far less levels of severity. I would like to make this clear before I continue this. It gives the same feel of, are we retiring a jersey number, or are we passing some Great Legends jersey number onto a newbie, so to speak? And like,
Yeah.
there are arguments either way, I think. Like,
Right.
I can
That's
see how
true.
it'd be cute. I can also see how not so much. And also like the practicality of it. I truly do
Yeah.
not know if you can give that, like, if there are repeat badge numbers. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is a great question.
Well, and I
But
think every department has a little bit different policy on it too. Because I have seen some that, like, I've seen videos online of, like, dad retires and gives his badge number to his son, or especially if the son isn't already an active police officer. And I've seen others do it differently. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see what they end up doing and how they end up honoring Bobby in that way, if they do.
I'm also looking because I did double check, because so I got my badge number at the volunteer department I was at when I passed my initial tests, like my physical
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. It's like, okay, so I already have my badge number. But as a career, I was like, I don't know. So I did double check. It does look like it is upon graduating the academy. So presumably, Harry probably already has his.
Which is weird because at the end of season 2, Eddie was given his badge by Bobby.
Yeah, that I was thinking about that. I was like, again, it's his badge, Sarah. But we saw Athena pin his badge. Now I'm just confused.
Yeah.
Did they
And
swap out
it's also
badges?
not even that we any of these things anyways. Like they never really
And like, it's also not important. It's
yeah.
just interesting.
I know it's like it's not that
Go
serious,
on the
but I'm
weird
also
tangents.
like it's just
We do.
random ass things.
Yeah.
Not I love it though.
So what were our like thoughts overall for the whole episode?
I think this is like I've liked every episode, but I think this is the first episode in a while where I was like, wow, I love this episode. Such a great episode. I connected with so many things in this episode. Um, like this was an
Mhm.
episode where after the episode I was thinking about it for like 20-30 minutes after the episode. It was it was a really good episode.
I'm along the same lines, actually. Like, I don't think there's been an episode yet I haven't liked, but I feel like I've kind of been just kind of following, going with the flow of things for the past few, but they've not knocked me off my feet or anything. This
Mm-hmm.
one was really good. It was impactful, it was passionate. I thought it was a really well done. Like, I thought some of the topics they brought up were really well done and actually like cared about. And yeah, I just liked it all around. I love how much
Mm-hmm.
hen content we're getting. I just want to say this. We're getting so much hen content, and it's not just about like kid storylines too. Like, we've been asking for that for ages, if you
Yeah.
just gain more hen content. This whole season is hen content. I love it. And I feel like we're truly tapping into the Athena and hen bond, and we're getting to see so much of Karen as well. It's just, yeah, I'm just loving the dynamic. I think I remain interested to see where we're going to end up with Hen. Because are they going to show a like drastic improvement? Is she going to be able to come back to her job? Are we going to see her rotate into another like capacity in the fire department? Are we like where are we going with this? Because I'm like, right now I'm just so afraid they're just gonna pull the plug on this entire storyline at some point. I'm like, where are
Yeah.
we pulling the plug? And can we not fully pull it? Just, reset it every now and then. I
Yeah,
don't know.
for sure.
I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely love this episode. Very few notes. Even with the weird seizure bit.
Yeah. No, I liked it too. It was a little, there's some things I didn't like about it. I mean, nothing major, but yeah, I think it was a good kind of all around fire family fic. Like, we get
Yeah.
those, and it's like the feel good. Everybody's out looking out for each other. Buck's helping out with Harry, and and I definitely I'm really happy to see Buck stepping up in that more mature role in that way, just because for those of us who've been watching the series since the beginning, and we've seen this yearly like growth in Buck, and now with Bobby gone, it's just this whole different dynamic of like who's going to be the one to give advice, because sometimes Tim is not the one to give advice. Sorry.
Loved him dearly. He is on the bottom or
Yeah.
along the bottom of people I would go to for advice.
Yeah. So yeah, I just, it's good, and I'm glad they brought Hen's mom in to have this episode, because I don't think it would have gone as well if it hadn't. And I'm glad her mom kind of was the one to bring up the diary from, her childhood and all that, because that was a significant thing in her life then. So there's a lot of good stuff too. And I'm interested to see the Harry joining the 118 officially, what that's going to look like. I just have to say, Oliver's curls were like popping out this episode. It's just like, I love those curls. Yeah. But no, it was good. I think it's just one of those middle season episodes that, like, if we do a watch through, like, there's not, to me, I don't feel like there's a significant amount of like story progression to where we have to watch it again, but it's worth watching, that makes sense.
Sure. Like I'm watching for
And
those key scenes for sure.
Yeah.
oh yes, and like yeah, definitely rewatching for key scenes. And I am kind of glad to again have another episode where it's not like we ended it on a note that we're kind of starting. I'm not gonna say starting the next episode on clean slate because we're still carrying on multiple lines, but we had less suspense. We had less, cliffhangery, like tensions. Like, can you tell I really hate conflict stories? I hate conflict. I know they're so necessary, but sometimes they're not necessary like that.
Yeah. I used to love a good drama, and now I kind of like don't love a good drama. Like it has its place. I still like ones, but like it has to be like necessary enough. Like I hate the unnecessary stuff. And I did hear people like say they were like, "Oh, this reminds me of how like old 911 used to be." And like, yeah,
It had old 911 vibes. And I feel like we've been going in and out of those feels a little bit this season. Like,
Yeah.
actually, we've really been dipping into old 911 for the last couple of seasons. I'm thinking particularly about season 7.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like we've kind of been, like, season 8 was so convoluted. We were going in and out of everything. And season 9 has been that, a little back. I'm gonna make a very selfish request to the 911 gods of please just give me some regular emergencies so my brain stops hurting.
I know.
Yeah.
A fire. I know you said it earlier, like a fire or a car accident.
Yeah.
Or
just give me a good old car accident.
I would even take a cliffside rescue.
Yeah, honestly, we haven't had one of those in ages.
Because sometimes I'm like, oh, well, this emergency, it doesn't really give value, so let's just not add it in. But sometimes I'm like, it would be nice to talk about a good emergency. There's always hope for that, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll get it eventually.
But yeah, so let's talk about the promo for next week, because it's something. We have a house fire, and the kid seems to be in the house alone. And Maddie is talking to him on the phone, and she's asking if there's a fire extinguisher. And the kid says, yeah, it's in a cabinet. It's on fire. And Maddie's telling him, like, step back from it. Don't touch the handle because it's red hot. And of course, the kid is like, oh, I'll get it. And touches the handle and then starts screaming. The 118 shows up at the fire. And we also see Athena. I don't know if this is the location. It might honestly be something else. And that is that, which I know a lot of people were like commenting on this and were like, well, I feel like they just left a lot out. And this is very out of context, which I feel like they've been doing a lot recently. Like, that is the point of a promo. It is to tease it, but not specifically say what's happening. And I feel like they're just trying to mislead us. They're even putting things in the promos, at least the last few episodes I've noticed this, where there's things in the promos that they put in for the promo, but they don't actually make the, like there'll be a bit of the scene missing from, like, the final show. Which is fine. Like, I actually kind of like that in a sense. But I don't know, this scene, I'm just like,
Yeah, again, y'all know I never see the promos. Like, I literally am just reading this. But we all also know that the promos just stitch things together. Interesting. Like I feel like the promo for the episode we just reviewed is a great example of literally them just stitching all the stuff together for like the most drama kind of thing. Because God, I'm trying to remember what y'all said we had last week, but it was like the, why is he here moment. It was the fall. It was the lot of dramatic stuff. Obviously, they build in the hype, but I said I wanted a good fire. Maybe, maybe this will be
right.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something with all the context we just got. Because I'm just like, yeah. It's also like never tell a child to not do something because they're gonna do it. I really hope that he heard this wrong because, like, why are we touching things that are on fire?
Was it like was the handle like metal?
I'm assuming.
But then yeah, you just burned the shit out of your hand, kiddo. I feel like I don't know how old was the kid. I should have
just watched the promo. I didn't watch it either.
Like
I totally forgot.
Little kid or like preteen or like
I'm gonna say like maybe like 8, 9. That was the kind of vibe I was getting. Like old enough.
I'm pretty sure you know not to touch metal.
Old enough to know if you're given a direction to not do said direction is my thought.
Because I'm pretty sure like if they were like 4 or something, yeah.
No, it was not that.
Okay. I was like, how young are we talking here?
No, not that young. Like I would say like older child, but not teenager, but like, like before preteen. That's what I would say. Old enough to know to follow directions but who honestly knows what's going on here? This is just not
And
good.
then you could be my dumbass and 2 months ago there was a pan in the oven. My roommate preheated it, or I did, forgetting to take the pan out, took it out of the oven, set it on the stove, and then 5 minutes later I went and moved it, touching it without grabbing a pot holder. So, it can happen.
Okay, that's real.
42.
It does happen.
I watched a video this morning where this lady had like some type of like fruit whatever thing, like not a pie but something similar to that, let's just say. And she was like sprinkling like powdered sugar on it, and then she went to touch the handle, and this is something that's like 500 degrees, and she was like, and she flung like sugar everywhere, and I was just like, why did you do that? You just took it out of the oven. We're humans, we make mistakes,
right?
Like you forget, like we all
it does happen.
We all do it, like where you're like, oh shit, let me and then you're like, oh shit, that was hot. Like you're not thinking, and you're like, no, you need
sometimes you just do things on autopilot, and autopilot does not always consult the brain first.
Exactly.
And also if you're just me, you just forget.
Yep.
Just forget, oh yeah, hot is a thing. Oh.
Yep. And even with what I did, I think I was literally like, I was thinking, oh, I'll just move this and then I can put the pan there or the pot there. And I was like, and then my roommate is like, not. And I was like, oh man, like it hurt. Like my hands under cold water. Like it was crazy.
What's also the worst is literally when your brain is interjecting as you do it of, oh, don't touch, because you're in the middle of doing it and your brain is like, wait. So yeah, easy to happen. I will still say, kid, still do not touch something that's actively on fire in front of you.
Yeah, I think like I was always told, the house is on fire, you go outside.
Stop, drop, and roll as well.
Yeah.
That's another one.
We need to implement.
I did see a video of someone actually stop, dropping, and rolling the other day, like utilizing it in real life, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I guess we were taught that first. I don't remember how they got caught on fire. Whatever. I think it may have been like a grill accident or something. I don't remember. But yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us and listening. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and check us out on YouTube. For more, visit 91lsroundup.com and follow us on our socials at 91lsroundup. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And of course, come join us on our Discord server. The link's down below and on our website. You guys can follow me, Katie, at For the Love of Talos on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads.
You guys follow me, Grace, Saffron Rafa 911 on Instagram and Threads.
You can follow me, EJ, at EJ8302 on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.